We got your mic on? I don't know. I don't
have no
I don't have any
idea how
headphones.
y'all.
Oh, here. I'm sorry. Take your headphones.
Nothing like an
I'm
informal.
gonna need them again in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get our. Ooh.
You see, they nearly destroyed my master tape, and we're all kind of going.
Put these on, and we'll be in good shape here.
That's what I really like, a professional outfit boy.
Yeah. Well, see, in the last interview we did, we had to do with one microphone. At least we got two this time.
Well,
so.
Grace in the face of adversity. You know what I mean?
Right. So anyway, while we try to keep from tearing up your master tape and get it queued up to the single, tell us what you've been doing lately.
Well,
spending a lot of time in the studio, right?
Well, yes. This album has been a 2-year process, only in that I've recorded 1.5 albums and done 3 tours in between the start and the finish of it, you dig? And like I started it, and then we did the Crosby, Stills and Nash album, and then a Crosby, Stills and Nash tour, and then I got to do 2 more songs, and then we did another Crosby, Stills and Nash tour, and then I worked on it a little bit more, and then we started to do we did half another Crosby, Stills and Nash album, and then did a tour. Did half of a new album for CSN, and then I finished this all except for the mastering, and then we did another CSN tour, and then I went back to Florida and mastered it, and I ended up mixing this one down from the 24-track. Most of them are my mixes.
So you were
like 2 songs. That was basically the engineer on this one, pretty much.
So this is really entirely your album, then?
Well, yes,
to the extent
but I mean, the thing about it is that there were other albums that were basically my albums, in that I played everything and all that kind of jive, right?
Yeah.
But this one, I didn't do that as much as make sure that the electronics and everything were set, and then concentrate on a good performance, and then where I rarely did anything but play the guitar and sing the song. Like the basic would be bass, drums, keyboard, lead guitar, and voice. And then we would do background voices, maybe, or if we'd look for the performance that had the hot lead guitar solo or the hot vocal for the most part, maybe drop in a line or two, because when you just walk out to the studio and start, right, run the changes by and go for it.
Yeah.
You're bound to make a couple of mistakes, but that's always on the magic tape, right? So you just drop it in,
And fudge here and there,
and that's never a problem. And then me and Michael Lewis sat and wrote the charts. It was like voicings on the piano and me remembering my theory, and we'd write it down, and then we got to the studio with there were 27 strings, and 16 on one and then 27 on another, and 7 horns, and we'd if there was rarely a mistake, and if there was, he was so fast and his players were so fast that we could do a head chart in 15 minutes, and we could rearrange, revoice the whole thing, or maybe I'd have a flash and say, hey, let's get the violins to do da 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 da, and they said, and we'd write it down. I said, no, that's a dotted eighth tied to. I said, oh, I see what you mean, like that.
Yeah.
And then that all got done, and I dropped it for a while, and went back and polished off the vocals, background vocals, and really got those clean with a little group we called the Castaways, which consisted of Dave Mason, Andy Gibb, and John Sambatero from Miami.
Relatively unknowns, right?
Right. And then we had mixes as we went along, and I didn't like any of it. None of it was sounding right. And so I just said, I asked Steve Gursky, who I was working with down in Miami, I said, just plug everything in and go to sleep. And he left, and like 30 hours later, I had half of it done. Went home and died for 12 hours, and came back and did the rest of it, and used two of the old mixes, 2 or 3 of the old mixes from before that either Ronnie and Howie Albert had done, or and Michael Brownstein from out in California did one for me as well.
Well, it looks like you've been doing everything but sitting around on your posterior in the past.
Well, that's for sure. The thing of it was that there wasn't, I concentrated on trying to get good performances, and not overproducing things, but yet using instruments and so on and so forth, and then mix downs. Once you get it on the tape with enough level, and we had a drum sound that we had that pretty much stayed stock, right?
Right.
And the bass was always the same bass player, And once we had that, it was fairly easy to just walk in and start. So there wasn't a lot of work to do in mix downs, except getting a good balance, a good sound on the vocal, and making sure there was enough level and so on and so forth like that, and not enough, always trying to think ahead to the next process so that there wouldn't be too much muddy kind of bass on the record that comes out, figuring on the fact that half of it's going to wash away when they make the mother, and making sure it's the right frequencies of top end and so on and so forth, so that when you guys play it, it comes out nice when you put it through your limiters, and that
Optimod and all those black boxes.
You get optimum sound that we can get, considering the materials that we have to work with these days. To the consumer, because the average kid has a really good system these days. I mean, a decent system. What we used to call a really good system when I started making records. Yeah. That's the cheapo.
Right.
These days, and so you can go for a lot of things that you couldn't, subtleties that you couldn't bother with earlier, like 10 years ago.
Well, we're sort of wishing that Armstrong, or whatever his name is, the guy that invented FM and really promoted it, had been able to talk Fred's cousin Charlie into even a little wider specifications, because we could do a lot better, I think. If we had the room.
Yeah, you probably could, because your frequency that you put out can handle more.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to. I know that because of the disparity between the sounds of records, that you usually end up using a limiter, putting everything through. Like I can't see over there what kind you got.
It's over there.
Right. And that pretty much, I have to count on that when I make my mixes. See,
right.
I have to remember that it's going to go through that, and us guys in the record industry would like you guys to play our records flat out. Because, like, I cut my records at +5. I can get it to +5.
Yeah.
On the disc, clean.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be louder than everybody else, and it might be louder than your commercials, which is you guys end up crazed with that. So,
well, we got to do what we can to reach the most people, and that little box is supposed to do that. So if we do that, then
that gives you
theoretically
a constant as to peaks and so on. But it squashes my sound a little bit.
Yeah. Well, if we were too good, nobody'd buy your records anyway. So that's they'd all get out there with their tape recorders, right?
Not so.
Well,
it's not my experience. I mean, they have plenty of chances to take them off the radio onto machines.
Yeah. Well, I know I would definitely rather listen to the vinyl directly than.
These days, the kind of stuff we're having to make records out of, it's almost a toss-up.
Well, A toss-up maybe between the master tape. It's not a toss-up between the master and the vinyl. I'd rather listen to the master tape any day, but
right.
And that's what we're going to do, right? If
yeah, this is the amended version of the single, and this song is supposed to be fun. This song has no meaning and no social redeeming value whatsoever, and
all right,
it is merely about having fun, and it is just to say that I ain't a folk singer. I started out playing rock and roll a long time before I found out about Jimmy Rogers.
Or what it was called, right?
It's called Can't Get No Booty.
You're right. So this is it.
WRNO. This is Sambo doing my imitation of Jay Douglas, who is now manning the tape machines. We are talking to a very special guest, Stephen Stills. I do want to apologize for some of the highs on that, because this machine right here does not, reproduce Dolby as well as we would all like for it to. But nonetheless, what is the name of the new album?
The new album is called Thoroughfare Gap. What you can do with that is just if you've got the facility, roll it back a little bit, and if you've got the facility, put a little 400 on the bottom, and it'll sound a little better. But I'd like to finish the song.
Oh yeah. The who?
If you have equalizers in the studio, put a little 400 on and finish the song.
They're back there, aren't they?
No.
Well, we have no way to equalize it down.
Okay, well then just finish the song. Just fade it back in. Because there's a new thing at the end that I want everybody to hear. You did.
Oh, it was fading, Steve.
We'll do it
again. We'll play it again after a minute.
What the hell?
Well, moving right along, folks.
Moving right along. Boy, this turned out to be a real winner. Let me tell you, when we first announced that you were going to be up here, we got a lot of calls. People asking, when is Stephen Stills going to come back down here? I don't know if it's going to be in the Crosby, Stills, and Nash status, or if you're going to do a solo tour.
Well, I'd like to do a solo. I'm doing a solo tour in November, and I always love to play down here. And
you're from not too far from here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm from Covington.
All right, 3 cheers for the people out in Covington here.
That's right. I grew up on the Bogafalaya River.
So this is sort of like coming back home to you in a way.
Yeah, I got my first job as a professional musician right here, and I lived here I was in and out of New Orleans all through from when I was maybe 3 years old until I was 15, until I was 20 really.
Then you moved to Texas, huh?
No, I was born in Texas. I never lived there. Then I moved to New York. Stayed there for a while, and then went to California.
Well, when did you, if we may continue talking about some of the days gone by, when did you get together with Richie Furay and Jim Messina and Neil Young and do Buffalo Springfield? I mean, exactly when did all of this kind of come about?
I met Richie Furay in New York, and didn't meet Jim Messina until about 5 years later, or not 5 years, not that long, like 2 years later in California. And he started out as an engineer for the Buffalo Springfield, and then when Bruce Palmer had to quit the band, he took over as the bass player.
Okay, well then, what really caused more or less the disbanding of the Springfield? I mean, what did you do between that time and the debut album from Crosby, Stills, and Nash?
I don't know. I hung out and tried to figure
letting it slide, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was just trying to figure out what was gonna what to do next. I did a little. Ahmed Ertegun was a great support at that time, and he would let me go in the studio and experiment a little bit and kind of work on songs and recording technique and stuff. For those of you who don't know, we went through the whole rap about the mixing and all that stuff, and then played the tape. And in here, in the room that I'm sitting, it sounded like it was recorded in a tin can.
Don't say it.
This is because the tape that I have, the 2-track it plays out through what is called the Dolby system, which is a noise reduction system, and it reduces high-end overtone above 10,000 kilohertz and 10,000 cycles, and takes noise out, basically, is what it's supposed to do. But what happens is that noise you hear in the back is the man
That's the station falling apart.
Great tape machines.
And what happens is that when you mix down, you have to put more top on it than you would if you didn't use Dolby's. So the record is fatter and a little bit louder than that you heard.
Well, it's obviously going to, by the time you get it on disc and remixed and all that, they know that it's, they understand, believe me. Don't you people? Certainly you do.
I don't.
Well, have no fear. We'll take care of you, Steve. When is the release date on the new album?
As soon as they send me a test pressing that doesn't fall apart in a week. Test pressings sound wonderful, but they scratch easy and they get dull real quick, and I'm having just a horrible time getting good test pressings out of them, and it's because of the chemicals that they're having to use in the pressing plants.
Well, they got to use something else different, because they were having a vinyl shortage not too long ago. Remember all that?
Well, the
hoopla.
Polyethylene vinyl chloride was considered a health hazard. And
is that why it was? I never knew the story.
That's part of it, and I can understand that. But what we get is the petroleum product that we get is the bottom of the barrel.
Yes,
quite literally. And
this goes to Exxon, and this goes to all the record companies.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there life after death?
I give up. Is there?
And so the quality of recordings these days is just not what it used to be. If I asked for a clear plastic record, the record company would do a full gainer off the 27th floor because the cost factor would be prohibitive. And even though it's a multi-million-dollar business, they wouldn't be able to get to there are other industries that have priorities.
Well, it's probably the same deal when they make out picture discs. You've seen record companies that make out picture discs, and I was wondering if it was I knew it was a lot more expensive to do it that way on a picture disc, but I didn't know that it was on the same line as having a clear disc, because they used to have a lot of clear discs around. As a matter of fact.
And that was clear vinyl. And
here's to you.
Here's to Muhammad.
Mm-hmm. Were you in town for the fight? Did you go see the fight?
That's what I come for.
All right.
That was the most beautiful fight I ever saw.
Wasn't that good? I was a little worried at the first, because Spinks looked like he was going to come on, pretty strong. But then
he's a strong boy in his game, and he's going to be a great fighter in a couple of years. And a great fighter. And Muhammad just was getting the reins for the first couple of rounds, it seemed. And then he lined up on him and just kept coming, and kept coming and kept coming, and it was like stepping back in time.
Yeah. Well, your own personal opinion, do you think Ali's going to retire?
I'd tell you, I hope so.
He should.
I hope so.
Because he's not as young as he used to be.
I hope so, because I know what it takes out of me to do a concert, and I'm not but a year younger than he is. And he's been doing that all this time, and I play for 2.5 hours, and you know, and I have to practice, and we have to rehearse for a while. Of course, it's an odious comparison in one way, but in another way it isn't. I know how much easier it was when I was younger, but now I have to pace myself so that my voice is all there until the end of the show, you know. And
do you have to do any sort of warm-up things before you go on stage, like vocalizing or things like that?
No, I don't vocalize particularly. I use a first song that actually does that. The first song that I have like 3 songs that are in a key that help me warm my voice up and still come on strong enough, you know, because I've got to open my pipes up right away.
Yeah. Are we going to see a Crosby, Stills, and Nash tour coming down here, or Stephen Stills?
If it's this winter, it'll be me, and if it's next summer, it might be a CSN. I don't know. Talk to some promoters around.
Are you 3 guys working on another album to come out with?
Yeah, we're about half done.
What's the name of the new album going to be?
We haven't really gotten to the vocals yet, and then we have to do 5 more tracks, I think, and mainly we're kind of waiting on material from all of us. You know? We've got some good. We got a couple good ones from.
But you're not exactly pressed. I mean, there's no pressure from the record company.
We won't press ourselves for we're not. We're not into that kind of, you know, timing and you have to have one right now and all this stuff. When we're done,
Yeah.
you know. And when we got
for sure.
the songs that, and so on and so forth. Not to be artsy craftsy about it. It's just that we, at this point in our
you can't really rush a thing like that anyway.
Right.
You know?
And I mean, there's some groups that can walk in and record an album in a week, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash ain't one of them.
That's true.
I mean,
Kiss can, but maybe Crosby, Stills, and Nash can. Well, I just wanted to sort of touch base with you on that, because a lot of people have called up and say, ask him when he's coming down here. We want to see another show.
Well, you know, somebody find the right hall, and...
What'd you think of McAllister Auditorium at Tulane? Next question. No, I was just curious, because a lot of people were, wondering when and where you were going to be when you came back here, and if it was going to be the Stephen Stills show.
The pavilion up in BR is still primo. You know, I mean, well, wait a minute, they've got the dome is just too big. I don't want to play the dome.
Well, it sounds terrible anyway when you do a show there.
It sounds terrible. I mean, I thought the Astrodome was bad, but
I mean, the Rolling Stones walked out on stage and were, I can't get no satisfaction. It's just
right.
It's terrible. You
couldn't hear the decision of the fight. You know?
They kept saying, "Clear the ring, please," and nobody would clear the ring.
Right. I gotta say a couple of things about that fight. There was that I noticed. For one, I thought the police were exceptional. They were really cool. Minimum amount of hassle, minimum amount of anything. And they were really. I got stuck. Like I was going back to try to find the men's room, and it turned out to be right where they did a great thing. They did a fake job of where Ali was going to come out.
Oh yeah.
So they had a bunch of cops, right? And I got stuck there, and all these dignitaries are walking by, and nobody knew I was coming, and I'm not really into that. And I don't know the champ, although I'd love to meet him. But and I got stuck up against the wall, and I got to talking to this. What, from a bunch of people? Is that how you got stuck? Yeah, I got stuck up against the wall by the police were sealing off an aisle to get the guy to the ring, right? And this policeman kind of he knew who I was, and he said, "Oh, just stay behind me because this is going to get crazy, or it might get, just stay." And he stuck with me and was wonderful. He was great dude. That was
a great fight, though. Did you see any of the preliminaries, the bouts before that?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to. We were late and just
didn't get to see the stripper in the middle of the ring. Huh?
Oh, saw that. But correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a lot of jiving around about where the different sections were supposed to be, and then
the seating?
Yeah.
And
well, they got changed.
They changed it. Seats they rearranged at will.
I know they changed it at the last minute after everybody had bought their $200 ticket and said, "Oh boy, right ringside." I can't wait.
Because I was promised over and over again by my friend that bought my tickets here that I was in the 4th row, right?
Yeah.
And went to a lot of trouble to, and to get them, right? And I ended up in the 4th row of the next section back. Because instead of going A, B, C, D around the ring, it went A, C, C, and then B, and like that. And I went, wait a minute.
There were a lot of people that were upset about that I had talked to.
I am one of them.
I can imagine. What are we fixing to listen to?
I went to see the Buddy Holly story, and the next night I went back into the studio and cut Not Fade Away.
Not Fade Away. Buddy Holly's birthday wasn't too long ago, too. So let's.
First cat I ever heard play rock and roll.
Oh yeah. Here's Stephen Stills and Not Fade Away from the new album.
The right version.
That was the right version.
That is the record that you will buy in the store if you will be so kind as to find.
Why, certainly.
The new.
Everybody wants the new Stills album. My goodness. Who plays with you on the album?
This is a single.
No, well, I know, but I mean, it's going to be on the album, huh?
Yeah.
Well, who all is playing with you on the album? Here you go.
That particular song is. We recorded that at the end of about a 12-hour, incredibly frustrating session with working on a song of David and Graham's that just wouldn't come, and we were talking about it and everything, and me and Danny Kutzmar were just crazed, and it was like 1:00 in the morning, right? And so we started messing around with this line and wrote the song and recorded it in 45 minutes. And came back the next day, rewrote the second verse, and then mixed it down. That was the first version. The second version, they wanted a disco version of it. They wanted a 6-minute version of it. So took it back to the studio, edited it together, and kind of looped it, and put the synthesizer on it. Everybody dug that so much that we decided to go back and amend the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got 3 different versions of it now.
But basically it's the same thing. It's just Danny played the some of the slide. I played some of the slide, but I played bass on the basic track. Because the bass
you were doing the synthesizer work in that last track.
Right. The bass player had gone home. George Perry had gone home. Vitaly, I said, Vitaly, just stick around for a few minutes and let's see if we can get something on this right. I played bass, Danny played the initial rhythm guitar, and then we went from there, had it done in nothing flat, and just made a nonsense record. And to me, there's a poetic justice to putting out that kind of a record as a single, because everybody takes me way too seriously. And rock and roll is supposed to be fun.
That's right,
I mean...
He was like, I got all Stephen Stills folk records.
Yeah,
got them all
Everybody
at home.
thinks I'm a folk singer, man. I grew up on the blues.
That ain't the case. Who influenced you, growing up on
Jimmy
the blues?
Reed, John Lee Hooker, Lightning Hopkins.
You ever listen to Muddy Waters?
And Muddy Waters.
Influence you at all?
B.B. Some. I used to listen to WLAC up in Nashville all the time. I mean, that was, I do my homework to that. And
they still run. It's not LAC that runs the old Grand Ole Opry thing.
Right. I could never get off on the Louisiana hayride now. I mean, I dug some of the real country folk music, you know, like the Carter Family and so on and so forth. But and Hank Williams and that. But it just bluegrass is what I like.
Yeah,
that's the kind of country.
Bill Monroe and the Pleasant Valley or whatever their name.
Yeah, right, and good fiddlers and stuff, and also the Cajun stuff from down here.
You like Kershaw, huh? Like Doug Kershaw?
The Kershaw brothers are infamous in California and all over, And I'd just been traveling down through there when I was a boy. But this song now, if we found it,
have we found it?
We
have found it.
This was the last thing I did. I saw the film. I went to the studio the next day and said, I have to cut this tune, right? So me and the bass player and the drummer went in and cut the tune, and they did their part, and then I finished it. And it was during rehearsals for the CSM tour. That was the last thing.
Let's do it to it. We're WRNO. There's another cut from the new Stephen Stills album, which is called... Ta-da!
Not Fade Away. The name of the album is Thoroughfare Gap.
I like that funky version of the Buddy Holly song. That's great.
It's kind of a combination of the Stones version and the original version, you know. I don't know. I just did it. I just did it. I just kind of did it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did it to it, you know.
I just started with the bass player and one rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
Did the maracas, and then did an organ, and then did the me and the drummer and the bass player did the background voices, and the
rest is history.
That was the end of that. It didn't take long at all.
Well, what did you think of the movie? I haven't seen the movie yet.
I loved it. I mean,
I heard Gary Busey is just tremendous.
He's fantastic.
He's tremendous.
He's tremendous, man. It made me happy to be doing what I'm doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that part of it may have been fictionalized or whatever. Or they took a little license here, a little license there. Who cares?
Yeah.
It was really.
It's done.
It was a good movie, and it's good entertainment, and it's good to. It's good to. It's at least a glimpse of what it was like back then, you know, and.
Well, movies like that are really kind of hard to recapture the way it really is.
But Gary did a great job, and they really tried hard to stay as close to the way things went down as could, you know, and you know, the way they treated a lot of the different elements was fine, and I can't fault them on anything, you know. Like Rolling Stone's got a big story about, well, these is the facts and this is.
Oh yeah, we know and they don't.
Right, and I mean, Rolling Stones, they got their job to do and all that stuff, and I suppose it's cool, but I don't know. It's a nice movie. It's good. It's good to go. It's really good movie to go to. I mean, it's just fun, you know.
Fun
and
for
man,
the whole
there's
family.
a moment in it, in the beginning, and they're in the roller rink and if you get to hear it in a good theater with quadraphonic Dolby sound, when he goes into rock and roll, it's thrilling. I mean, you get goosebumps.
Your basic chills up and down your spine.
That's right, because he's sitting there doing like a you know, one of a country song with acoustic guitar, and he says, "Let's do," right?
Yeah.
And he picks up the Fender, and here it comes, and all of a sudden the sound is all around. And it's just like being in the roller rink, and everything stops, and you just go, what? Anyway, this is Boku Yumbo, song about Louisiana.
All right. Listen, we got a break here for just a second.
Right.
We got to take care of some business, and we'll be back with more Stephen Stills. Stephen Stills, who is making his appearance in the control room here. We're playing cuts off the new album. And what have we got coming up here? Tell us about the next one.
This is what I call it. This is if nobody believes that I lived in Louisiana, and
we trust you.
This is swamp rock.
Swamp rock.
And it's called Boku Yumbo.
All right.
That one goes out to all the people down in Thibodeau, Donaldsonville, Big Mamu, Little Mamu.
So on down, all the Mamus in between, too, as a matter of fact. It's from the new Stephen Stills album. And what was the name of that tune? We never did say the name.
It's called Boku Yumbo.
Boku Yumbo. Does that mean anything?
C'est une chanson de ma femme. Pour ma femme.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, well, if I ever went to France, I'd be in trouble. I swear.
I was for years.
You didn't catch nothing while you were over there, were you?
I spoke Spanish, but I just couldn't get a handle on it for the longest time, speaking French.
French, you got to move your lips too much. You just...
No, it's like saying, it's there saying...
Here we go. Yeah, the station's just falling apart. Don't worry about it.
That's okay.
No
they've
problem.
got this, you know, this tape machine over here that's from the Ionic Age. And,
It's a Model T.
Right.
Model T tape. T stands for tape machine.
It's from the rule of Charlemagne, you see.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's from the Holy Roman Empire.
This used to be in King Louis's house. Did you know that?
Anyway, that's a song. Everybody was talking about swamp rock years ago, and
yeah,
and so I just decided to do that one. This next one that we're going to hear is the opening track of the album, and it's basically for discos and it's for dancing and having a good time. And there's like an 8 or 9 minute version of that as well, but we couldn't put that on the album and have the rest of it, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Take up all the time for the rest of the
cut
tape.
another one of those great big ones, you know.
Send it to all the discos.
No, people buy those things.
Yeah, that's true. Well, a lot of them aren't available, though. That's the thing. A lot of those aren't available.
They ought to stock them because
they sound better, for one thing.
Well, yeah, you cut 45s and the grooves are so far apart you can really crank it, you know.
Yeah.
And you can really cut it hot, and it'll make any system sound good. You know?
Even mine at home. I think.
Even the one in this control room.
That's right. Well, okay, Joe. I hope you're listening. You say we need some new equipment. Now watch, don't say that because they'll take it out of my picture.
Okay, this one I didn't play anything. I played timbales and sang, and I played recording studio and orchestra.
So you more or less did the whole schmear.
I did the chart and I did the arrangement and played timbales and sang. I did not play guitar.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll play this song, and then anybody that wants to talk to Steve on the air, you up to that?
Sure.
Want to talk to some of your fans? Okay, we'll listen
man,
to...
por lo menos hijos,
Hey, man,
por teléfono.
Here's another song from the new Stephen Stills album here, man. We're WRNO. There's another cut from the new Stephen Stills album. Damn, that's a tasty little tune there, I must say. Not blowing any smoke up your nose because you're here, but that's a fine jam, man.
Yeah, that's a mamma-jamma.
Mamma-jamma. That's how you say it on the radio, see? Well, what's the name of that song? Tell me, quick.
That's called You Can't Dance Alone.
There it is. Boy, that's nice. Any possibilities on that being a single?
That should be the second single. It's like Can't Get No Booty.
That's good. No
Can't Get No Booty is to just get everything out there and just just to get the new vibe, out there.
Let me see. I think there's a gentleman on the phone here that wants to talk to you. Hello, are you still there? Okay, well, pick up the phone there, Stephen. Let's get this gentleman on the airwaves here.
Hello.
Hello, Stephen Stills?
Yeah.
I got two questions to ask you. Do you think you should have another rock festival like Woodstock?
Well, I don't know. I in a way, but not on that kind of a massive scale. You understand what I'm saying? Because it turns into it's uncomfortable. You can't hear. Nobody really. I mean, it's good and it's a nice party to go to. But as far as the music it goes and listening to the tunes and everything, it's a different kind of a trip. What I'd think would be the most optimum situation would be to get a nice big hall, say something along the lines of Maravitz Pavilion up in BR or something like that, and play for about a week. Have different bands for about a week, and like get ticket for the whole week, and or whichever night you want, sort of like the old jazz festivals used to run, not so gigantic sort of thing, I mean the dome is cool, but it don't sound too good. You understand what I'm saying?
Very true.
And it's good for football, but I mean, I played a couple of great big places, like we played Cleveland Metropolitan Stadium and drew 97,000 people with the band in 1974, and everybody liked that, and we managed to get that place to sound good because it's an older baseball stadium, and somehow it just managed to really get together, you know. But those places are hard to find, you know, and it's just those kind of things just create a terrible burden on the local authorities and police and so on and so forth, and you know, there's a lot of chance of people getting hurt and stuff. So I think I'm more you know, not to say I hate to use the word controlled environment, but I think everybody would be more comfortable in that sort of situation. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And another question.
Yes.
Do you think Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young will get back together?
Well, Crosby, Stills, and Nash are back together.
Do you think Young will try to back?
He's doing his own trip, man. I couldn't tell you for love or money.
He's sort of on a loner thing now, isn't he?
What's that?
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
It's funny he should mention Neil Young. He seems to be one of the hardest people to track down and find out, you know, what is going on in his life, because he from what I understand, he does not do that many interviews or anything like that.
Well, he's probably, I don't know. I used to stick my foot in my mouth so much when I was doing interviews that I quit for a while. But he's really funny and great to talk to, and I don't know why he doesn't do more.
Yeah. By the way, it's 903 at the Rock of New Orleans, WRNO. We got to keep it legal. You want to pick up another phone call?
Sure enough.
Okay. Here, I'll tell you what, we'll just take this one cold. You just answer it. It may be somebody calling in a request. Who knows? Here.
All right.
Try this out here.
Hello?
Yeah, I'd like to ask you what happened to Stan Manassas.
I want to speak to Stan the Man.
No, he said, what happened to Manassas?
Oh, what happened to Manassas? Oh, we just kind of drifted apart, you know. There was basically lots of fame, but not enough money, you dig? We sold quite a few records, but it was a fairly large band, and I don't know, there was it just, everybody kind of went their separate ways, so to speak. You know, so that's basically what happened to that. We had a good time while we was doing it. That's sort of the kind of band that I'm going to have as my own.
Well, excuse me. I think you were talking a little too much over his head. I mean, he's probably sitting home. Anyway, let's do one more. I'm going to screen this one first. Hello, who is this? Who is this? Oh, you want to talk to Steve? Now this one's on the level. Okay, pick up the phone, because this
Well,
one.
he asked a legitimate question.
Well,
He wanted to know what happened.
He just didn't want to know the fucking.
Yeah, hey, what's happening?
How you doing? I must say, I am very honored to be speaking to you on the telephone via Sambo's show.
Yay!
Yeah, gotta get Sambo in there. But, you know, ever since Buffalo Springfield, okay, I have always loved your music. I think that you are an extremely talented person, and to make the kind of music and the sounds and to work together, I know it's extremely hard. You know, and what I did have a question though. What I wonder is, like, in comparison, of course things have changed a lot since the 60s, but in comparison to the people that you're working with today, do you get along better with them than, say, the rivals that you had with Crosby and Nash?
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, what? Well, you guys, did I get along better with?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, the times have changed, yes, you know, and we don't have as many problems as we had back then in the 60s. Tell Sam about to quit laughing.
I'm not doing nothing.
They're laughing at each other. And they're trying to make me blow it, and I've already done a good enough job of that.
Well, considering it's Sambo, I understand. But
well, having spent a few minutes with the gentleman, I can agree with you, darling.
But no, anyway, I mean, things are different, okay? Now, there were problems with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, from, you know, what I understand.
Well, the thing...
But anyway, are you getting along better with the people that you're working with now?
Well, Crosby, Stills, and Nash just did a tour this summer. We didn't get this far south, but we'll probably will next time. And we get along fine on the road, and have a lot more fun than we did. The thing is, the whole mentality of pop music used to be so important, and everything was so serious, you know. And now it's time to have a good time, people, you know. And like enough with this, with all this, you know, friction in the band and stuff like that, you know, and because rock and roll is supposed to be fun, and I'm getting into my 30s, and as long as people want to come and listen to me, I want to have a good time when I go out on the road, and because I love to play.
Well, it's hard enough to play besides putting up with the hassles and ego trips, you know.
Really? Well, see, I was always the one on the ego trip, everybody said.
You were?
Oh, yes, that's... go look in back issues of Rolling Stone.
Yes, really.
They know all about it.
They know everything.
Well, I mean, I used to read, like in the LA Free Press and in the Berkeley Bob, you know, back then in the 60s, there was, you know, always a lot of gossip and all this. But,
well, you just said the key word, gossip.
Yeah.
Gossip.
Gossip.
Who cares?
A lot of people.
Well, why? I get up in the morning and I eat breakfast and I have a child and I have a nice home and I like my life and I love to play and I'm a reasonably sane human being.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at what I do, and I enjoy doing it. And the rest of it is movie star stuff. I'm a musician.
Well, okay. Now you brought up another point. Before Keith Moon died, he was planning to, you know, write scripts, Broadway productions, things like this. Do you have any of that in store for you? Would you like to make a rock opera or a musical or something?
No, I don't want to make a musical, but I've written four stories for films.
Oh, you have?
Yes. I've just got, you know, and I'm getting my typing back together and stuff like that, you know, so I can get a little bit more fast at it, you know. But between two more that I'll have finished by, you know, in a couple of 3 months.
You know, I believe it was Mr. Soul that was dedicated to the chicks who used to go to the Whiskey A Go-Go.
That was...
I would like to know why, because I used to go.
Well, you'll have to ask Neil, honey. He wrote the song. And all I did was play on it, and it was fun to play, and that's about all I can tell you. And the man is making frantic signs that I have to get off the phone.
Okay, Sambo.
Bye, Debbie.
Then thank you very much for calling, honey.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, see, there she didn't hang up on you, now did she? Okay. Hell with that other guy. Okay, we got to take care of some business, and then we're going to...
Sell.
We got to be back with more Stephen Stills. Hang on just a second. I really hope that you come down here, especially with just the Stephen Stills show. Not that I don't want to see Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but I just...
They're both good.
I know. They're all right for white boys, you know. I mean,
well, listen, this we'll wrap it up with the title song of the album, which is called Thoroughfare Gap, which got a little Cajun fiddle on it and some acoustic guitar, and this is a little bit more like the old stuff, and I hope everybody will buy the album. It's on Columbia, and it should be out within 2 to 3 weeks. And it's called Thoroughfare Gap, and it's got a picture of me on a breeze and a racehorse.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Stephen Stills, title song from his new album, Thoroughfare Gap.
Sometimes I consider my pace. I'm reminded of a train gathering speed for the climb to the past.